Yeah, welcome guys. Welcome. I haven't done the intro yet, but welcome to Prepared episode
Yeah.
24. Welcome guys. We
Ooh.
went on a little delayed intro there because we got caught up in hair talk, very important talk, and then the UI PvP talk.
hmm
But we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about this week. We got the Blizzard, a little bit of Blizzard news at the start. We won't go for a whole episode. Again, I always timestamp every episode once it hits YouTube, guys. So if there's any topics you don't like, you can just skip ahead. But we will talk a little bit about the Blizzard news with the shredding of documents and things. Then we're
Yeah, I
gonna,
hadn't heard about that, so
yeah, it was kind of like a
I'm really
footnote,
interested.
a little bit of footnote there. But yeah, we'll talk about that. And then there's the season 2 leak that I'm sure like everyone's seen. It's made the rounds everywhere. We can talk about whether that's real, whether it's fake. Some round population updates. Then I also want to talk about PvP and like big problems with it right now, or
hmm
like rather what I see as like the biggest problem in PvP and making it kind of suck right now. Yeah, and then we're gonna just talk about some just general topics like what creators should do to succeed in WoW, which we've been saying we're gonna talk about it for the last like 3 weeks or something like that. But we always just
hmm
talk about other stuff and then we run long, so we just bump it. But maybe
Yeah,
maybe this is the week. Maybe this is the
and I
week to
think
actually talk about it.
I think we've talked about it a little bit too. I think we've touched on it a
Yeah,
tiny bit
touched on it
already.
here and there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, how's your week been, Zirene? As we've been talking about PvP, I know I did see you outside the gladiator queue person recently. You
Oh,
doing some
really?
queues?
No,
I think
like,
I ran past. I saw you there. You've been
oh yeah,
spamming a little bit more games. I see.
yeah. I'm playing on my rogue a little bit because I'm like pairing up with a feral druid because it's a combo that I'm interested in. Never played before, but it's apparently like really high rated in Europe. There's that Spotman and Petrax, and so I've been watching their stuff. And I'm a PVE Andy right now. I have only really PvP'd healers, honestly, and my rogue like way back in the day. But it's a completely different game now, dude. Like even in like 1400, all these rogues have fucking sap macros and shit. So like you'll see each other the same instant, but they've already like shadow step sapped you with a mouse over macro on like
Yeah.
arena unit frames.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, yep, okay, yeah, duh, okay. Like I'm like, damn, like it's hard to even play without like having all of the stealth stuff.
Yeah,
and all
like if
that,
you
so.
like, I think like at the minimum for rogue, you have to have like the shadow step sap or cheap shot macro, like
Mhm.
some combination of that, because like otherwise they will always out open you. Like there's like just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
They just always out open
Yeah.
you.
I think I'm rounding a corner though after like it's like I always think frustration precedes a breakthrough where if you're getting frustrated you just need to push through and then eventually you're going to have that breakthrough. So right now we just got through like a big frustration period and so I know what I need to do next, and I think a lot of what we were doing wrong was the comp requires a lot of early cooldown usage just very quick, and it and it was target swapping,
Yeah.
so it's basically like you sap the person you can sap, open whoever you can't sap, or if you found like a rogue or whatever, you swap your sap as the druid opens on him. So you like sap a rogue. If it's like rogue priest, you sap rogue, then you swap your sap to the priest as your feral druid opens the rogue, then you shadow step to rogue, garrote him, fucking like kidney shot him, or just leave a rupture so he has like 4 fucking bleeds on him. Then you vanish before the pounce stun wears off. Then you go back to the priest, sap him again. If he trinkets, you blind him, and then you finish the rogue. Or if he fucking hasn't trinketed yet and the rogue's still alive, you blind him, and then if he trinkets that, you have to just like it's just insane how much like the druid has to do there. Yeah, it's a lot of just target swapping and getting trinket, and sometimes you have to just be like, oh, he trinketed sap or whatever. It's like, oh, time to blind him, or you like swap your shit, blind the rogue, and then cheap shot and just open on this guy for full kidney. So it's a lot of saving your kidney, which I'm actually not used to at all. I'm not used to saving my kidney shot.
Kidney, like I feel like as a rogue, almost like all the comps involve like when you get the enemy in kidney, and if you get the full kidney, and it's like, what number kidney is this? Is are you gonna kill him on the first kidney, second kidney? Like there's a lot of that. Kidney is like your main kill thing. Like you lock them in a full kidney and then you kill them. basically.
Which it's not unusual for me to play that way because I played Paladin back in the day, and so like Hodge was your kill a lot of the time, and so it's not that unusual for me. But as a rogue, it's like pressing cheap shot and not pressing kidney shot afterwards feels a little awkward, you know? So I have to like dump my combo points as soon as fucking possible so I don't use them on kidney, right? So it's like if I have 5 combo points on somebody and kidney is up, I'm like, like I'm like I gotta press it. I gotta press it. It's like one of those things I just need to get out of the habit of. I need to like dump it on expose or rupture immediately. And which I actually, with that comp, I was really surprised by how much dot rotting you do. Like Garrote 5-point rupture and like all the bleeds from the cat actually just like
that's a lot of damage.
That shit slaps. Like you go like sap the priest and then like the rogue's already dead and you're just like, what the fuck? Like the guy actually, it's like having a warlock on him. It's insane. It's like playing warlock rogue.
I actually hate that comp is so popular now because it's like one of the counters to rogue lock, which is what I play mainly. Because you guys, they did the opener is so important, and the Pharaoh Rogue just does so much damage, and it's really hard to get a good opener sometimes because it's just so chaotic with 2 stealth guys, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah, if they manage to find you, they like sap you. They like sap you or swap saps and do the same thing in open rogue. Or they sap you, go warlock because they can't CC chain warlock because the warlock will get in combat. Basically, like I can't sap warlock and swap sap to you and then vanish, go back to the warlock because his pet will get him in combat. So I have to blind him off the first one, which means I'm probably gonna have to vanish, shadow step, cheap shot him after he trinkets my blind. So yeah, there's a lot there with like if you find the rogue who will have paranoia, then you win. But if you don't find the rogue and you get opened on, there's still a chance that you can win, right? But it's like it's still like the comp works actually surprisingly well. It's just different than other comps, and people are saying it only gets better in different in later seasons because apparently feral druids just don't have as much damage right now because their arena set is it is plus healing and spell damage, so their feral set is not optimized yet.
Yeah, which is scary because pharaohs do crazy burst right now in the opener. Like
when
you get hit for like 4k in the opener, and you're like, where did that damage just come from?
Yeah, it requires some PvE gear from what I'm like seeing, which is not like a unusual thing. I was actually playing because like I played Paladin back in the day, and I was playing Ret Paladin on the beta, and I ran into a shaman player who was like a really high rated shaman player on Endless. I forget his name, but he and I were playing together, and he was like, when we first played, he was like, just change all your gems. And I was like, what? He's like, just change your gems. Just go full PvE. And I was like, okay. So he's like, yeah, the whole point is as a Ret Paladin, you don't have Mortal Strike. He's like, you need to kill with Wind Fury and Burst and Wings. And so you need full PvE gemming. Like you need to just get like the 3% increased crit damage on your head, go like full strength. He's like full PvE. He's like, even change some of your gear out for PvE pieces. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because they're probably going to go me 90% of the time, and they don't really go the Ret Paladin. And you want to take damage and not have too high resilience because when I heal you, you get mana back. So you never go if you take damage. So, which is one of the problems with a Ret Paladin is sometimes you can go in longer fights because you don't kill somebody because you have no Mortal Strike, right? So he was like, yeah, you want to take damage so you get mana back from Spiritual Attunement. And I was like, Jesus Christ, okay. So it actually worked though. It just different. So there's a lot of like nuanced things that a lot of people like really have a ton of experience with. I know the game is old, but I'm actually surprised by just how long a lot of people have been playing the game and just how different it is now. So
I mean, we'll touch a bit more about that when we talk PvP down the line. But it's crazy how much. Like the biggest thing I notice is when I watch, like I like to watch Snuts when he plays Rogue. And like when I watch Snuts, it's very obvious that this guy knows his next move like every time, and he's also monitoring what everyone else in the arena is doing because he doesn't really have wasted movements. You don't watch Snuts and you don't see him like lost as far as like where he's going and what he's doing next. It's always just like this fluid movement of I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I'm doing this, then I do this because this guy's doing this, and he's just like it flows from when you watch him play Rogue. It's like someone else. It's like the computer took over and it's just doing like the perfect sequence of movements. Is what I get when I watch him.
You watch montages, and I'm just like, damn, I will never be this good, and I'm like, I'm fully capable of admitting that. I'm like, I would never have like guessed that is what the warrior would have done in that situation. Like, I watched something where like the guy he like sapped a warrior on purpose after he got the eye, right? The fucking the shadow sight or whatever, right?
Stealth.
So he like he like hung out by it. A warrior grabbed it on Blade's edge. He sapped the warrior as soon as he got it. Jumped down. The warrior berserker rage jumped off. He shadow stepped up to where the warrior was, like immediately. Like he sapped him, knew he was going to Zerker Rage out of it, jumped down. The warrior fucking jumped to like, because he's like, obviously when the warrior sees him, he's going to charge him. But it was really funny because his feral druid simultaneously grabbed the other shadow sight and found the enemy druid and like fairy fired him. And I was just like, what? Why didn't the warrior? Because if the warrior charged the druid, the other feral druid who got the shadow sight, instead of going after the rogue, I'm like, damn, he would have been up there by himself. He would have been up there alone with the feral druid, right? Yeah. So I was like, damn, he knew he was going to go after the rogue. It was insane. It's just crazy. It's because like you kind of have to know not just what you want to do, but what the other comp wants to do too. It's really weird. Yeah, but yeah, it feels good when you get to like have those moments of how to play what you're playing.
Yeah. When you completely smashed other team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of which, I ran into, I was queuing into Nian yesterday. You know, Nian Tonso.
Oh, Nian Tonso?
Yeah, because he plays WoW at like a high level in PvP as well. He's like rank 1 and everything, so...
Yeah. Nian is an incredibly good player. If you guys don't know Nian Tonso from CLG back in the day, who played top lane for them, this is like a League of Legends thing. Yeah, he plays WoW. He's the guild leader of Suop, Shut Up and Pull, and they're on Fairlina. And he also plays... He plays... I think he won a 3v3 tournament playing Warlock in Classic, and I think or like got like at least first or second. Yeah, I think he was up against. I think it was Zetox's team. Was him and Zetox in the finals? I'm trying to remember, but yeah. So yeah, he's played Warlock. He's got a Hunter. He's got a Druid on Horde side, I believe. That's like female Tauren.
Yeah. Maybe two, so actually. He plays maybe a lot. He's got a lot of outs. He's got a lot of outs, Nian.
Yeah. Nian is like me, where we play a lot of WoW, and nobody has any idea how we sustain it financially. So, yeah.
Nian, he's crazy. You can tell he's good, though. Like,
he's super good.
Usually, Roguelock crushes any warrior healer team. We just out damage them and they can't heal through it. But like you see, even though we still won more times than we lost versus him, like I just watching the adaptations a really high level player like him does. Like for the opener, I always sap his priest. He was playing warrior priest, and he was a warrior. Then he started intervening the priest as they ran in, so that I couldn't sap the priest anymore. And I was like, oh, that's super smart. That's actually super smart. Because none of the other warrior priest teams I ran against did that. And then he made that adaptation after he queued into us like twice.
How did he know that you were about to open? Or is this like in the middle of the fight?
No, it's because it's at the start. It's our standard openers. We always sap the priest and then Zug the warrior for that comp. So he just knows. But then he realized like, oh wait, if I intervene then, they can never sap.
There's a point in between, right? Like,
well, he runs in is the thing. Is he gets in and then he runs straight at my warlock, so that by the time
warlock, okay,
like he gets there, so it forces us to open unoptimally, or we can't get the absolute optimal opener. Yeah, it's very interesting.
So would he like blood rage intervene then charge, or like what?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's his idea, is that like I'm not gonna sap, and then it's gonna force me into like a stuff situation, and he's just gonna run straight at the warrior. Even if I try to sap, then he's gonna be the one that gets sapped, and he'll just like berserker and break it anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Gotcha. Yeah, you had to catch him at that point in defensive stance, like going for like an intervene. It's damn. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but anyway, before we get into full PvP other stuff, because we've been talking about PvP for a while, you said you hadn't seen this Blizzard thing where
No.
they it leaked that they were. Well, it's kind of a little bit he said, she said, but it looks a bit scuffed in that, like, let me pull this up. Basically, the DFEH that people know about that are suing Blizzard made an amendment because they said that not only did they add more things that they were going after Blizzard for, like increasing the reach of the discrimination that they want to investigate and such, they also said that allegedly documents related to investigations and complaints were shredded by human resource personnel in violation of what it asserts is the game company's legal obligation to retain them pending the investigation. So it says that but Blizzard did respond. To be fair, Blizzard did respond and said that, like, no, we didn't do this. It's basically the response. With regards to the claims that we have destroyed information by shredding documents, these claims are not true. We took appropriate steps to preserve information relevant to the DFEH investigation. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit, we don't know what's the truth, but it seems a bit sketchy that they suddenly amended this and said that Blizzard is destroying it. So that was just like a little footnote on the whole suing stuff.
Yeah. At this point, you can make up anything and say anything, and it doesn't matter. Like, it's going to stick, right? Whether or not they did shred things, the fact that people believe at this point that they're capable of doing that executes them in the court of public opinion, right? Like, the fact that the trust is low enough that if somebody said, yeah, they're shredding, HR is shredding documents that like pertain to the case or whatever, and people, even like 50% of the people believe it, or even 25% of the people believe it that read it, then, you know, it's basically donezo at that point. Like, it doesn't matter if they did or didn't. Honestly, it matters that the public would believe that, because we will never know the answer to this question. Most likely is, did they actually do that? Because it's easy. It's eventually easy to prove that they did, but like, how do you prove that documents used to exist that no longer exist? And if you didn't shred things, how can you prove that there was nothing that you shredded, right? To me, it's irrelevant whether they did or didn't, because I can't prove that or disprove that, so I don't pass judgment. But I know that what the impact of this statement and what this is going to do is going to create memes around it of they're capable of shredding shit, right? Like, something happens and like, oh, you should shred those documents too. Like, it's going to create memes. People are going to accuse them of doing it, even if they didn't. So yeah,
like someone in the chat is saying right now, documents what? I can't hear you over the sound of our shredder. Exactly, stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. 100%, dude. Like that right there. That, dude, it hasn't even been like fucking, I don't know when this came out, but it hasn't even been that long. It hasn't even been a week or like a few days, and there's already top tier memes over this shit. So the fact that Blizzard is capable of shredding documents, the seed has been planted, right? So yeah, it's strange what we will believe, or at least pay attention to a little bit now. Yeah. Whereas if you think back in the day, even 5, 6, 7 years ago about Blizzard, it's insanely different, right?
Yeah. It's like people even insist, like, sometimes when it comes to, like, we don't call these guys Blizzard, we call them Activision Blizzard, because they don't want to even associate like the Blizzard name with what they've become, because they've just lost so much trust. I mean, at this stage, like, all this stuff is just, it doesn't do anything because the faith has already been kind of lost, and it's up to Blizzard to make like long-term results and things, and this, like, I understand people in comments are kind of tired about the topic, and like, I'm sure we are as well, and that we just gotta wait now at this point. Like, there might be more weird stuff that comes out from Blizzard like that, but yeah, so I mean, moving on from the Blizzard topic, because there's not really much we can really talk about there. We just gotta wait
we
for
could
Blizzard.
shred that for now.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is, by the way, and I know it's blurry, guys, because this is just how scuffed this leak was. It's just like a blurry photo that got passed around. I'm sure, Zirene, you've seen this season 2 leak that got, I think it made its way first.
I have not seen whatever you're talking about. Season 2 leak, give it to me.
Wait, really? You haven't seen this? So
nope.
Okay, so nope. This has been making the rounds, basically.
You can't see it, but the rock that I live under is right over there on the other side of my bed. So what is this?
Okay, so this made its way, it got popular in a Reddit post, and allegedly, this is a deleted post from the EU forums by one of the community managers that basically said that season 1 is ending on September 14th, and season 2 will begin September 28th. And the alleged story is that this got added. This was posted on the forums and immediately deleted. But
This seems right.
the dates look really good.
Yep.
But I think the
Yep.
post is completely fake.
You think it's fake? Okay.
Yeah. Because like here's the thing why I think it's fake. Because not a single Blue Tracker post picked it up. Like no one saw this, as far as I can tell, outside of like this one site that somehow posted this photo. Like no one saw it. No one can confirm ever seeing it. It's not like the client leaks. People like to compare it to the client leak where they accidentally leaked like the early thing and it was all over half, like a lot of people's clients. They saw the leak date. This is just like one post that allegedly was posted that no one can confirm was actually ever posted and didn't show up on any Blue Trackers on any websites at all.
So this, whether or not this is a post that they've made, this is what I think will happen.
Yeah.
Like I think everything in here is accurate, and I think given a guess, like just throwing a dart at a board, I think they probably hit the bullseye because everything here, right? I think is accurate. Arena Season 1 is currently scheduled to end on Tuesday, December 14th. Following the end of Season 1 Arena, there will be a 2-week period in which Arena points are available to spend on discounted Gladiator gear. 100% accurate, right? So that's true. After the 2-week period, Arena points will be converted into honor points as a 1 point equals a 10 honor point conversion. That's completely accurate too. Season 2 will begin on Tuesday, September 28th. Season 1 Gladiator gear will be available for purchase from an Arena vendor throughout the duration of Season 2. I think that is completely accurate. Everything there is factual in my opinion. The dates line up as well because 28th is the New World release.
Yeah, it lines up exactly. Yeah.
Oh fuck! So it lines up with the New World release by chance, because September 14th is it's a Tuesday. We will know by the end of this week. We'll probably know by the 31st if this is real or not.
Yeah, because they have to give like that 2 weeks notice, right?
Yeah,
like,
they'll give 2 weeks notice.
To give 2 weeks notice.
And a lot of people are saying that Season 1 will end when Phase 2 comes out. So like Phase 2 and Season 1 ends the day that Phase 2 comes out, right?
Yeah.
Is what they're saying, which would mean that Phase 2 comes out on the 14th. And then there's a 2-week period where you're playing PvE or Season 2, and then you can spend your arena points and shit like that. Or Season 1 is over, and you're playing Phase 2. And then 2 weeks into Phase 2, kind of like how 2 weeks into Phase 1, they release the arena season. So, yeah. That's what people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this post so like believable for people is because the dates, if you ask me to guess dates, I would say all these dates. Like these would be the dates I would give because they delayed it by 1 month allegedly, or people think they delayed it by 1 month because New World delayed for a month. So it would make sense if they were going to launch it to screw with New World that they launch it on the New World launch date, and then you just work backwards with the 2-week dates and such. And but yeah, I mean, it looks very believable as far as the dates. I still think it's fake though, as far as like the actual post. But we'll see. I just find it weird that no one saw it, and then like only one like random website saw it out of everyone. No one else.
That is a little strange. But like I'm reading people like Crit Cobain says they're not going to release Season 2 during Season 1 PvP or Phase 2 during Season 1 PvP. I think that I think that's the point, is they end Season 1 the same day that Phase 2 comes out, right? Like, I think the 14th is when Season 2 is when Phase 2 will start and Season 1 will end. And then there's no arena season going on for 2 weeks, but that's where Phase 2 is like started, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like how the Phase 1 started, right? 2 weeks, no arena, right? So yeah, the arena season's over on the 14th, right? They give out rewards, all that shit. Phase 2 drops. You got 2 weeks where people are PvEing, and then boom, there you go. People show up with their Storm Heralds. Season 2. 2 weeks later.
Yeah, but we'll see, I guess, because yeah, like you said, they have to give at least. I know Blizzard's lately hasn't been giving us much, but they have to at least give us 2 weeks notice. They can't just like launch the phase like that within like a week or something. So we'll know whether this is real. Maybe by the time I release this on YouTube, we'll know as well. And but yeah, it seems very believable for the dates.
I should give you this as well because we've probably shown this. I don't remember. But people keep asking me about this, so I'm just going to send it to you. So if people are spending their arena points now, you may be in for a surprise in 2 weeks when everything is half off.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because here's the thing about the prices as well in PTR is that they've changed a few times. Like first they were like slightly discounted, like 20-25% discounted. And now right now on PTR, they're like half. So we don't know if this is like the later discount or we'll get a smaller discount first and then the season 2 discount is actually the half or if this like we don't know what versions of what discounts line up with what they're doing.
Yeah, so like my rogue right now has 2,400 points saved, and if I buy one piece right now, I buy a singular piece. I can buy like chest, which is like 1,800, and I can't even buy gloves. But if this dropped today, I could buy 3 pieces. Yeah. I could buy gloves, helm, chest, right? I could buy 3 things. It's actually fucking great. And to answer the question of do they have rating requirements, they do not have rating requirements on the PTR. So if you are a prop paladin who is still using like your exalted weapon from fucking like what is it? From Thrallmar or Honor Hold, you can get the gladiator gavel for only 1575. Right, with no rating requirement currently on PTR. So you don't need to go after that Spellblade or anything like that. You can just play 3 weeks of 5s and scuffed 5s and get points. So
I mean, it's very, very cheap on PTR. I actually like people were wondering whether this was only going to be for like the season 2 prices for the season 1 gear, but I actually wouldn't even mind if this is a discounted price because they like it's something I'll talk about later is that man they gotta let people catch up, they gotta let people get into it because PvP is so like dead right now.
PvP's bad right now. Like I don't want to play it on half my characters because I don't have gear, and then on the characters I play it on, I'm like I don't have enough gear yet, right? Like it just feels bad. It feels really bad to be PvPing without resilience when other people have it. It just feels terrible. I agree with Menark where he says Blizzard needs to stop gatekeeping the game. It's killing it. And I really feel like where I think their fear has been they don't want to make it easy to obtain arena gear or honor gear because they feel like it'll kill those things. Because I've actually talked to a Blizzard employee because I actually know one who I actually play with, and their reasoning was back in the day, arena point gear was supposed to be obtained at the same rate that you obtained raid gear, right? Yeah. But raids were not cleared instantly back then. So people are now getting way more gear faster today than they were back then. So the rate at which you're getting gladiator gear hasn't changed, but the rate at which you're getting PvE gear has, which has made people want this gear sooner. Because back in the day, you spent weeks fucking wiping on bosses, right? Like shit wasn't cleared. You're spending a long ass time trying to even get one piece of gear, 2 pieces of gear. So it took a long time to actually get through things. Whereas this, the progression of it feels a lot slower. So they're like, yeah, we're going to update it and make it so that, you know, it feels more in line with the rate of the game now and the rate at which players are clearing content. And then their other thing was they said they worried about how honor was working, because if they increase the rate at which you gain honor, potential for queue times may go up for people because you only need honor until you don't. Yeah, was the idea. Was you will only queue for honor gear until you don't need it anymore. And this like, so if people were like, oh, you should like incentivize the alliance for like get more honor, right? They should get honor bonuses for queuing because it will reduce horde honor times or horde queue times if more people queue. And it was like, Yeah, but then the Alliance are just going to get their gear faster and then stop playing because you only need honor until you don't. And so they're trying to solve that problem of like making honor, which honestly, I don't know how much people don't like Horde v Horde queues, but I think it's fine and I think it should be back. So
Yeah,
that's me though.
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes into like what I want to talk about as well was like solving or like what I think are the biggest problems in PvP. We kind of talked about in the past a little bit when there was that Reddit post that kind of outlined a whole bunch of changes I'd like to see. But after playing a lot of PvP, so I've been playing a huge amount of PvP, to the point where I've literally, I think today alone I played like 50 to 80 games or something like that.
So somebody asked how many arena points do you get
for capping 5s on a new team?
For capping 5s on a new team. My warrior had 50 points last week, and then I joined a random 5s, played prot the entire time still. That team is 1339, and I gained 506 points for a 1339 5s team.
Yeah, seems about right. I got a calculator open here, so it's like yeah. I mean, this is the thing, is that this is one of the, like, the problems is that 5s is just way better than everything else. 5s is always like 200 rings. Like if you won like say you won like 1,000 points. Oh wait, let me go there. If you won like 1,000 points, it's always like
you need like 1850.
Yeah, you only need 1850 to get 1,000 points in 5s. But you want to get that same in
I was right. Yeah, what the fuck?
In 2s, it's literally like you need 2183, which is just like way more. That like it's a world of difference from being an 1850 rated player and being a like 2.2 rated player. It's like crazy difference.
A lot of people have actually. I was on PTR randomly, playing my paladin, and I was flying back into Tempest Keep, because as one does, not because you're wiping, but you're and I got a message from somebody who said, they're like, is this the real Zirene? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, me and my boys in OCE fucking love the podcast. And it was like really sweet because it was like a level 1 character. They were playing on Horde side and had seen me. So they actually like made a character to talk to me about it. And they're like, they really love the podcast. Like they keep it up. I get that comment a lot. And then one comment that I got as well on PTR from a different guy was that he loves our podcast because it gets him like a 4-day edge on whatever the fuck is actually going to happen. So like because we've done like the dazzling longsword thing, right? Like I showed you the fucking screenshot. That's not my screenshot.
Sent me a photo of like a 500 gold.
That's my friend's screenshot. That's Candid screenshot. If he's in the chat, his dazzling longsword sold for 500 gold. So he made 475 gold off a dazzling longsword, because he was fucking watching the podcast and bought it and then sold it. I think on Fairlina. Kebab spec, right, is the other thing too. Like people are playing kebab spec now, or at least like thinking about it and testing it out more. And this means like if you were somebody who wants to play kebab spec, hey, the gladiator sword is like a real thing that you can get now, right? And if you're like a prop paladin who's like struggling to get a weapon, because I know that's something that's a little difficult to get sometimes, then like, hey, you just have to play 3 weeks of mediocre 5s. And this is your 3-week period, by the way. If it releases on the 14th, this week you get points.
We have 3 more weeks of points.
This week you get points. Next week we'll get points on the 7th, and then you'll get points on the 14th after that. So if you play mediocre 5s for these 3 weeks coming in, you can get a weapon. Even if you've never played fucking 5s at all. And 5s is dead ass really fucking easy, especially if you play Monday night.
When everyone's trying to cap,
Play Monday night. You will run into the other teams that have fucking 4 rogues and 1 shaman, or like four BM hunters, 1 shaman, and they have no idea what they're doing.
I love Monday nights, man.
We ran into a team. I ran into a team that was 4 mages and a shaman, and the shaman pressed Bloodlust, and all the mages ran in and just spammed Arcane Explosion. They killed like 3 of us, but then like the last 2 just killed all the mages. It was like, what the fuck is going on?
Did Dude, Monday night queues are actually hilarious because that's when everyone's last minute panic, like, oh, wait, I gotta cap these alts. I gotta cap the alts. So everyone starts queuing on even the alts just to get the 10 games.
Yeah, I can tell you straight up, playing on Monday night is the easiest time to gain rating. Like, I was like playing like 1400 on my rogue in like twos on Monday night, and it was the stupidest, stupid easy thing. And then I played like yesterday on Wednesday midday, and it was just like the hardest thing in the fucking world. I was like, holy shit! Like I'm running into rogues that actually have full gear already, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, it was insane. Queuing during the week, not always the best idea, but also, yeah, they should also give. Ooh, that's an interesting take. They should give extra arena points to unpopular comps. I don't know about that. That'd be really hard to do.
That'd be super tricky to balance. Super well.
That's
it's an interesting thing, but I don't think it'd be a priority right now because they just have they have bigger fish.
Wouldn't that make them the popular comps? Yeah,
sure.
So like for example, it's also hard to identify what a popular comp is because of the nature of arena teams. Because let's say you and I are on a twos team, Snow, and we have a mage and a priest on the team too, but we actually queue double rogue, and then we both play with the priest and the mage, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, does it count us as a priest rogue, priest mage, or does it count us as double rogue, right?
Yeah.
But you deserve less points if you play a rogue. True. Very true. But don't rogues already get less points because we're better in twos and threes than fives?
He's got a point.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I love that response. Rogues need it, bruh. PvP is their safe space. Yeah, dude. Like we don't have glaives yet to like hold on to, or at least be pried from our hands by the kebab warriors. Who say it's war glaives, not rogue glaives. So, yeah, let the rogues have PvP, because you look at how many rogues are in PvP, and then you go check like raid comps, and you see one rogue or zero rogues, or two rogues, and you feel bad for that raid.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is rough days. If you take away the PvP from us, what do we have left? We're very good at setting up groups because apparently all of us have to set up groups ourselves.
We're
good at the end of the game. At the end of the game, that's when we're good.
Yeah, I mean, we do end up being really good single target damage, but like, dude, you know what I wanted to do? Sorry, this is like a tangent because we love these tangents.
Yeah, we do.
You know the WoW TBC website, the one that's got like the rankings of like DPS classes and things like that. I want to go back to when we talked about like what was going to be like a good class, like where people were going to position DPS wise, right? Where we were like, oh, is Elemental Shaman better than Enhancement? Oh, Fury Warriors are too low on this list. Like, I want to go back to our podcast, find that fucking time, and go compare it to what the actual logs are now. Because WoW TBC GG or whatever it is, they have like the aggregate data taken from Warcraft logs and like ranked. So I'm pretty sure what you and I were saying about like everything ended up being right. Not to like be masturbatory for a second, but like I got a lot of shit for saying that Fury Warriors were like a top 3 DPS class. And lo and behold, they're number 3, right? And they're only going to get better in SSCTK. And this is only on bosses and not full clear, right? So it's like the Warriors going to be better. Arcane mages are fucking insane. Like, just a hint to everybody out there, if you don't have an arcane mage in your raid, you probably want one for next phase. And in fact, you maybe want two.
They're disgustingly good.
Yeah, they're disgustingly good. Like, their single target is one of the best. That, like, everything that people told me warlocks were going to be with Seed of Corruption, mages actually are. Like, mages actually are what people told me warlocks are going to be. Like, it's so funny. Like, warlocks are they're the best single target right next to Hunter, and then the AoE is just number 1. And it's like, you look at the fucking logs, and it's like, this arcane mage is doing 1700 DPS through an entire clear. What the fuck? Like, the arcane mage is just AoEing everything down. And somebody told me they fixed the GCD bug where your GCD goes below 1 second on PTR, and it didn't affect their damage at all. So yeah, you just stagger cooldowns a little bit more, and yeah, it's fun times. So yeah, the arcane blast and all that stuff is great. How good is arcane without mind quickening gem is a huge part of the cherry on top. It's good. It's really good. It's kind of a cherry on top, but it definitely will increase your AoE damage. But you can stack icy veins and like drums and things like that.
It's not like they're not doing a bazillion damage without it as well.
Yeah.
It's still good. Yeah. It's still really good.
Super short fights. Yeah. Eventually, you're just going to use the trinket from SSC that gives you more mana back from your gems and gives you like a spell.
That trinket is actually kind of disgusting when you look at what it gives.
Like people are doing insane damage on PTR with mages, and they don't even have 2 set tier 5 or that trinket. So it's like I don't want to like reveal strategies or anything like that, but we're probably going to use more arcane mages than the average guild, and we're probably going to use more Fury Warriors than the average guild, at least in SSC. Until Fury Warriors learn how to not be on the floor in TK, it's a different game. But I will say that in TK, it was actually funny. There's like some trash in TK that you want to like chain CC with fears or sheeps, and we had the most ironic thing happen because like our mages have a saying from Classic, where speed running and shit like that, mages would like pull aggro with arcane explosion or something on something and die, right? And they'd lose their world buffs. And the saying was, I think our mages got called cowboys. I think Drost one time was doing like a VOD review of us, and then they were like, your mages are fucking cowboys. Like they just jump right in, guns blazing. They don't even wait for aggro or anything like that. And our mages fucking saying is taunt, you fucking apes. Like all the warriors are fucking apes, and we need to taunt. So whenever a mage would die, it's like, where's the fucking taunt, you goddamn apes? And we now get to flame them for not sheeping because the warriors die because the mages aren't sheeping. And it feels good to have the shoe be on the other foot, but I will say at the same time, feels fucking bad to die to something that was somebody else's responsibility. So oh god, dude, it's insane. God.
Yeah.
I know I derailed this a little bit, but I do feel like PvE is heading in a direction that I got a lot of fucking flame for in the past few months, and I just want to say, like, to everybody who told me like Fury Warriors is like this is copium shit, fuck you. There's a reason I've been like a fucking QA analyst and like game tester for almost a decade. Like, I can kind of put things together. That's even if private servers have different shit, I don't give a fuck. Like that little chip on my shoulder because people came into my chat all the time, like fucking calling me a clown and stuff, dude. Like, holy fuck.
I've found enjoyment in banning people recently since I started PvPing, because I never had to ban anyone in my chat before then. But then you start PvPing and it brings like the trolls out of the woodwork. But then I found out like, oh, this is why Peo enjoys doing this. This is actually very enjoyable. When you ban them and then you see the ban request thing light up, it's like, oh man, this is like Christmas. This is fun.
Oh man. Yeah, like you're saying like PvP brings out the trolls. So it's actually kind of ironic. We had Bobka in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here. But like I was watching Bobka yesterday the other day when he was doing PTR PvE, and I talked in his chat and he was like, oh, when I fucking PvE, Zirene shows up, not when I'm PvPing at the top rating. He's like, when I PvE, here he is. And then when I was like strat boosting and then PvPing, Bobka showed up, and I'm just like, oh fuck, bro. Like when I'm fucking boosting or I'm PvPing and I'm like dog shit at rogue PvP right now, that's when he comes in. It's like, god damn it, bro. Oh, yeah. PvP brings out the trolls, you know? It brings out the trolls like fucking Bobka.
Wait, where were we before the... Oh yeah, okay, we were talking gear costs. Yeah, so like basically I'm just going through like the points like so gear costs they need to fix, but I feel that they're fixing it, right? It's like they're making the steps. Maybe they should just do it like right now. Honestly, I think they just throw the changes in right now and get it over with. But they're fixing the gear cost, so that's like a big problem. They're fixing it. They're bringing in the revered gear soon as well. Although I honestly think they should just start it at Honored. Just make sure everyone has it, no matter what, because it just feels bad that like there's any like gate that stops people from PvPing. But Yeah, so they're fixing the gear cost, and then they're fixing the point gain, which is another big problem. So they're fixing that. They already fixed it partially, but I feel like I was showing on the points calculator. I think the next thing they should do with the points is that, man, they should really balance it out with like the twos and the threes. Especially like twos. It just feels bad. 200 rating difference just to get the same points in twos as threes. And then even more difference if you jump down to like fives. It's at the once you get above like 17, 1800, getting up higher, there's like big skill gaps as you get higher and higher where it feels weird that you're required to be a 2.2k player in twos to get the same points as someone that's zugzugging in 1855s. Like it feels very weird.
Can you figure out what Mur is making from 3,000 in twos?
Here's the thing: no one's calculator goes up to 3,000. Look, it shows not available because no one calculates at 3,000.
No, that's 3,000 points. At 3,000 points.
Oh,
3,000
wait.
arena rating.
Oh wait, and I actually did that before, but I'm not sure if it actually calculates as well.
It's probably like 2,500 or something.
Wait, maybe in threes, maybe in twos it can because you get no, it can't. No, it can't.
Wait, it can't calculate what he makes?
They don't.
What?
They don't have enough data. So they don't know.
Wait, how high do they have? 2,600? 2,700?
Let's see. Okay, at 2,500, it only gives you like 1,100. Because here's the problem. This other problem is that in once you get above like 2K, 2.2K or whatever, there's huge diminishing returns, like massive diminishing returns. So it gets harder and harder to actually get to the amount of points that people in fives are making, right? Like if you have a 2,500 fives team, you're making almost like 1,500 a week in points. Whereas if you have the same in twos, suddenly the gap is huge. Like you're stuck at like 1.1k, and it just feels bad. And when twos is your most popular bracket, and you're rewarding people for fives so much, it feels bad. I don't know why they want to make it like this. If they're gonna increase everything, just equal it out. In my opinion, it doesn't really make sense there. Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I like to see them do with the points.
I actually really agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next one is like BGs, man. Like BGs, what's going on with the BG stuff? Because they were testing it, and then they said they finished the test and they took it away, and we haven't heard anything. So what's going on? It's what, like a 30-minute queue now for each BG on Horde side, and
yeah,
and you don't want a solo queue really. Well, you can, but if you run into an alliance pre-made, you just wasted like 30 minutes of your time for no honor.
Where's my BG boxes? I will be honest. I think I said this last time. I do want my boxes back. Like the boxes were kind of nice. Like low key, I actually made like a decent amount of gold. My friend got some Mana Thistle. Like it in the box actually felt surprisingly nice. Like it was actually nice to be able to like PvP and like get random shit. I don't know. Maybe it's like a gambling portion of me, but I just felt like I was like, more rewards fucking seems good. People were sitting there like, oh, it's going to ruin the economy. I'm like, do you really think people are PvPing enough to like ruin the economy versus like the same time you spent in that BG, some fucking bot is like zoning in and out of goddamn slave pens. Like, come on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like with BGs, what I like to see is I like it's not completely solvable without completely reworking how BGs function, because someone in chat, like Menak said in chat, is that the issue with BGs is that the vast majority of people BG for rewards rather than the BG being the reward. Like the fact remains that BGs aren't that fun in a lot of circumstances. They can get repetitive and such. But I would say like what they can do at least is like the one fun area a lot of people have in BGs is when they can full pre-made, it's more fun than not full pre-mading at the least. Yeah. So if that's going to be the only way people actually enjoy doing BGs, then we should emphasize that and make it easier to do and not so scuffed all the time. Like,
well, it's because people like winning.
Yeah.
It's because people like winning, right? Like people like winning with their boys. It's like, oh no. Like it feels bad to solo. Yeah, it feels bad to solo. Fucking look at League of Legends and like everybody's complaining about solo queue all the time. And then it's like, but like having a 5 stack, it's like, oh, it's a little more fun, but like maybe you aren't as competitive. And then when you like 15 man, like losing is like unacceptable kind of thing, right? I don't know. It's I will say that now that they brought that back, it just feels like cheating to bring 15 people into a BG or 10 people into a BG. It feels bad.
Yeah.
Like,
And Horde don't do it
it's
anymore
doing,
on Horde side.
yeah, Horde,
like, we're gonna
Horde don't do it because like if you do it on Alliance side, you're like guaranteed to win every single game. Even if you just get a pug from trade chat, we have like trade chat pugs now that just win every game. I joined one of them, won every game, and like people aren't even in fucking like good gear. And it's because on Horde side, you don't find 14 other people who are going to sit through that 30-minute queue with you, right?
Yeah, it's too long. It's too long.
But my friend on Horde side said that he was queuing as 5 and would go do dungeons in the meantime. And I was like, I guess that fucking works.
That's
like,
normal, yeah.
That's normal.
That's how you know. Yeah, we have people that will join the queue and then go do like a dungeon and then like try to time it so that, like, yeah, my queue's gonna pop here. Yeah, we'll be okay. Yeah, that happens all the time actually on one side. Like people queue
really?
and then go
That's
do dungeons.
crazy.
But
Jesus.
it's like I feel like the best, like easiest thing they could do, like if they wanted just the easiest thing, is re-enable Horde versus Horde, and then don't cap the amount of people that can queue, because then, like, I know people hate going versus pre-mates, but it's better than the alternative. The alternative is sucks. The alternative sucks is that no one gets to have fun in pre-mating, which is like the only fun element sometimes. So just let everyone pre-mate if they want to pre-mate, and then put Horde versus Horde in, so that everyone can have fast queues, and at least that's better than the current state, which is they did some testing and then took it away, and now we're back to square one, and there's nothing.
Yeah. I do wonder though, like I think we mentioned this before, like the 2s and 3s are obviously the more popular queues, right? And 5s is just like it's a point grab.
Yeah.
If 5s was not worth as much as it is, people would probably just abandon it, right?
Probably, yeah.
So, like, is this a system that's in place to keep keep people in circulation for a like mediocre queue or mediocre game, right?
Yeah. The tricky thing is 5's queues get really bad too.
It probably just straight dies if you. Yeah, I think it just straight dies if you don't. Unless I was gonna say, the people have talked about this where they're like, you should just make Arena have honor. Like if you kill people in Arena, it's worth honor, right? Yeah. I was like, tiny bit, right? Just queue arenas all day and get honor that way. But maybe that would affect, once again, arena queues or honor on like BG queues and things like that. So,
yeah. Well, I mean the thing with the 5s as well is that, like someone said in the chat, at some point they realized that 5s is just a bad, it's just a messy and not great implementation of things, right? So it's like, if we know it's bad, maybe it's okay to lose it in this. We've had it in here and it's not great. So why are we keeping it, really, like trying to cater to keep it around when we know it's bad? Just at this point, just get it out here. We don't really need it, I think. But I just feel bad for like the
game was.
Yeah, I only feel bad for maybe like the paladins and like the shamans who use the 5s for easy points. But
true,
it just feels that, I don't know, man. It just feels like a bad category, and people, even the 5s we do have now, the queues sometimes get so bad. Like you can't even queue in 5s past a certain point without having an insane amount of time, because the queues get really long. If you ever want to queue 5s at like a higher MMR, if you ever watch any of the good players queue 5s, they just spend so much time just sitting in queue because there's no one playing 5s anyway. So yeah, I think they should change that. But here's the big, I have two big things that I think really need to be looked at for PvP, beyond what they've done so far, is they need to change this stupid placement system. They need to get rid of the placement system and like either just flat out remove it, and if they want to gate it another way, they can put in something else. But the placement system is horrendous. The fact that you get super punished for leaving a team and joining a team, and your MMR just gets... Like, here's the problem, okay? For people that don't understand the placement system, is that if you have an arena team, like let's say you have a 2K rated arena team, and you have someone new join, you get put into a placement set of games, and every game, it starts at like usually like 1100 or 1200, whatever
Mhm.
it is. And every game that you win will bump the next game's MMR up by like 100 or 200 or something like that.
Mhm.
So this goes on until your team and your teammate catches up to like where your rating is. It kind of equalizes between the joining rating and then like the final rating. But the
Yeah.
problem is that if you lose a single placement game, you lose huge amounts of MMR. So like
Mhm.
you really can't lose the placement games, or you end up just like you might end up with like a 2K rated team with an MMR of like 16, 1700 because you got two unlucky losses or something, or three unlucky losses, and suddenly you're faced with this massive grind just to get your MMR back to where it was. And throughout this entire grind, you're probably going to be losing like 20 points a loss, and then when you win, you probably gain like 1 or 0 sometimes, and it feels really bad. And that's how like people ask me because I've got a two team actually, or I had a two team. We remade it because we want to have a fresh team. But I had a two team that was 2.1k rated and almost 2.2k MMR, and I invited my new twos partner Reality on his alt Warlock. He's by the way, for people who don't know Reality, he's the highest rated lock rogue right now on his main in NA. So he's not a bad lock at all. But we just had some bad games where we run into literally our counter like double human rogue or like rogue feral and their human side, and then we don't get a good opener, and then we lose like one game at like 1300 rating in the placements,
Yeah.
and suddenly our MMR is horrible. Suddenly our MMR is tanked, and then for the next like hour we're trying to make up for that MMR, and it feels really bad. Even when we have like a 80% win rate, my team rating is still tanking and tanking and tanking. And then the problem is because the PvP community is so small right now. Like the upper end PvP community is so small that everyone kind of hops around to play with everyone else in that little small group. So like he left and then he rejoined again, and then so we did another set of placement games, which just tanked our MMR even more, even if we win like 80% of the games because we had to do placements yet again. So every set of placements just puts you at super big risk of just tanking your MMR. And then you just end up in this horrible situation of losing 20 points and winning like 1 until you get like a big win streak, and then you're okay.
Mhm.
Or maybe you don't lose any placements games and then you're safe. But it takes so long, like, especially in twos, man, like it's so easy to get countercomped into something that just really countercomps you really badly that there's nothing you can do if you get like a bad open or something. And
Yeah.
the entire placement game system needs to be removed because it just encourages an environment where people want to sit on the same team
Mm.
and they can't play with their
I mean,
friends.
The whole system does that, right?
Yeah.
It's like the fact that you don't like it's the placement shit. It's the fact that you don't have personal rating, right? That's like that is tied to your character alone, right? Where it's like if you leave a team and join another one, you start all over basically, right? Like you have a hidden MMR, I guess. But other than that, like it's not like retail where you have your own rating and then people ask you what your rating is, right? And then play with you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there needs to be like someone's chat saying that there should be like a personal rating or something like that gets you past placements or something. The problem is that there's no one to play with. This is like part of my next point is that there's no one to play with sometimes, and it is made further worse by the fact that people can't leave the teams they're on because they're scared of tanking their MMR, having to do placements, and running into all those issues with getting your set 30% games and losing your requirements or losing your set points for the week. People can't team hop, which means you can't play with multiple friends that easily. And the only way it's working right now, yeah, the only way it's working right now is because people have outs. Like literally, what's happening is the people that really love PvP are just making second outs of the exact same thing or other characters and just PvPing on those, and then not worrying if they're like tanking the MMR because it's the out. And then they're just hopping around with each other and playing like that. But it's a very bad system that's super punishing and limiting for people to play with their friends. It pretty much means you have like like a set group of friends that you can only play with. And then if you go outside that it's really bad. It just doesn't encourage the right sort of thing that makes a healthy PvP environment is the big problem.
Yeah. It doesn't like allow you to be friendly. It
Friendly,
makes it
yeah.
like more competitive.
Yeah, like
right?
I have a lot of guildies that like
It's hard to casually arena or PvP.
yeah, I have a lot of guilds that want to PvP with like me on my one of my rogues, but I'm like, I can't, man. Sorry, that's he's locked in with his 10 games and like he can't cop because this one I don't have time to like grind back the rating. We lose MMR and all this other stuff. It'd be nice if like even if we could just be on more than one team, and then you can like there's some sort of system that selects like which teams you're highest or whatever. It'd be really nice. It'd be so nice to be able to play with more than just like one small group of friends. Here's the other thing I've noticed as well, and I'm sure you noticed this as well, is that because the PvP community is so small, like one of the big problems right now is if you want to get good at PvP, it's actually really hard. It's actually very hard because like here's how it works in PvP, and this is something I was talking to with Jake and Bake as well. Because for people that don't know Jake and Bake, the IRL streamer,
Yes.
people know him for, is really like an avid WoW player as well. He plays a lot of Rogue in WoW. He really likes WoW. He's trying to get Glad right now in TBC, and we both run into this issue where the upper end PvPers that you want to be PvPing with only play with other good upper end PvPers. So the rank ones, the multi-glads, all those guys only play with each other because they want to play with other good players. But that means like if you want to get to deer level, there's like who do you play with? You have to find like one person to grind up with you basically, like, and it's a very rare situation where you find someone who's willing to put in that amount of time because like all those guys at the top end right now, they have thousands upon thousands and thousands of arena games, and you're trying to catch up with that. And it's super hard. And like both me and Jake were saying the other day that man, if we didn't have our little bit of clout and like the connections to be able to group with them, like right now, I'm playing with the best rogue, the best rated luck in NA for rogue luck on his alt. And like the only reason I'm able to do that is because I have like the connections to like Bobka, and Bobka knows Reality, and Reality's like got his alt who's able to group with me. And like we're gonna make a series together and all this stuff. Like if we didn't have the clout to be able to do that, I'd be so screwed trying to get better because the amount of games I need to get up to like a glad level, if like people want to have that long-term goal, they want to be able to get better at the game, but if they feel they can't, they just end up stopping. And like guys like me and Jake are able to use the bit of clout we have to be able to kind of get our way, finagle our way into playing with like these high-rated players who will teach us and be patient with us to play the games. But a lot of people don't have that, right? And if they don't have that, they don't have any way to break into this like very gated community to play with these players and get to that level. It's really hard to get good at arena right now. It's just I don't know what the easy way is because I have guildies on like white main and such who have stopped PvPing because they found like it's too hard for them to get good. They don't have a path of progression that's easy because they can't find good partners. They can't get the games in to get the good practice in. It's just a spiraling ball where they can't get the partners, they can't get the practice. The upper echelon of PvPers is very insular. They group with each other and it's hard to break into that. And which only makes them even more better than everyone else. This whole mess of like, I don't know how other people get good at PvP because it's so hard.
Yeah, I feel like what you end up needing to do, just like this is like a side recommendation thing, is if you are a top PvPer, you should probably monetize your service to some degree. Like there's websites out there, like fucking.
Have you seen how much gold Chan has right now? Zirene, have you seen?
Yeah, it's like how much gold Chan has. It's like Metafy or whatever, where people can like make pages and you like book lessons with them and shit like that. Like if you're a top rated PvPer and you have an alt that you could play with people and then team hop and shit like that, you could monetize that service and help other people get better. It's almost like a mentorship program, kind of like how, you know, in Dota there's like the mentor thing or whatever, where you can like draw on the map and like lead people around and like show them and shit. Which a lot of people will always like sing the praises of. There can be a way for like somebody who's consciously competent in their arena skills to help another person. And I think it's on the top PvPers who don't, like you're saying, like don't hop teams or whatever, to potentially monetize and help people get better at PvP, because if there's people who want to get better, they will pay. They will they will see, like, not pay for boosting, but pay for, like, understanding, like, the game better, right? Or coaching. So
one tricky thing is that they can't pay like real life money to play with them because it's against the TOS. So what happens is, like, they just pay gold, which, like, let's be real here, most people know, like, the guys who can pay a huge amount of gold, a lot of them are probably buying the gold. So it's like, it would be nice if Blizzard would just like,
you
put in
can't pay
something
for you can't pay to, like, play with them from, like, I mean, maybe this is something that, like, I'm not the best person for, like, TOS shit, but, or, like, understanding it is what I mean, because I'm not an interpreter of it. But in terms of you can't pay real life money to play with somebody, does that extend to things like coaching or, like, watching a VOD, things like that, right? Like, if I could VOD review,
they're allowed to VOD review.
Yeah, I could VOD review your shit. Like, you can't pay for, like, one-on-one personal coaching in, like, an arena team.
You can't pay for them to play with you, basically, but you can pay for them to coach you and, like, do other stuff. But they can't play with you, so they don't want it to transfer into, like, boosting. So you can't pay, like, directly.
Obviously.
But you are allowed to do VOD reviews. Yeah.
What if you're paying to be coached and that just so happens to involve being on the same team?
Yeah. Well, that's a tricky thing, right? Is that actually is the fastest way to learn. Like, if anyone in chat has ever watched, like, a channel stream, it's not only his best content, because people love to watch to learn at the same time, but it's also entertaining because the less skilled player is going to make mistakes and such. So it's actually really good content. But the problem is that he can only do gold, because if he ever takes money for it, he'll get banned. It's kind of like the issue there.
But, like, I don't know. I feel like, personally, those people who need to be catered to more, like your top players, you need to give them the ability to help the worst players, because what it's going to do is it's going to make your game better for the average player. It's going to make the person who used that service feel good. It's going to make that person who's playing your game continue to play your game, right? Because if Chanimal, like, what if he couldn't support himself, has to get, like, a fucking 9 to 5 or something, right? He's going to play less. He's going to engage with the game less. People are engaged with his stream less, etc. Like, it's in their best interest to allow people to do that. But, man, it's... Yeah, like, somebody says, imagine if Riot banned people for coaching. I mean, if there's a reason it's a fucking competitive... League of Legends seems like a competitive sport. It's because they allow people to treat it like one. So... It's
actually the fastest way to learn, because you have literally a top player saying, like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you should be doing this, and this. And if you're actively learning from them, sure, your rating's getting boosted at the same time, but you're
getting boosted now.
Yeah. You're actually learning insanely fast. It's like being in, like, the hyperbolic time chamber where you're like, oh, yeah, this is how I should play. Then you can look back over and be like, yeah, I do this instead. And you learn really, really fast. You pick things up really fast. It's actually the fastest way to learn. Well, I mean, and in the context of WoW as well, and, like, WoW Arena and such, it's like the best. It's honestly the best way to learn anyway. Is because you need reps. Like, this is something, like, I've learned in, like, in just trying to learn things. The amount of things that you have to get right, that you just need so many reps in to get there sometimes. And like, a lot of people don't see, like, the thousands of games you have to do to get to that point. I was talking to Reality when we were duoing for obscene hours lately at 7 a.m. in the morning, where he was talking to me about how, like, when Bobcat first came over, he didn't know anything in the TBC. He had to, like, he was like a 1500 rated player basically. He had to get so many reps, like thousands of reps in to get to that level. And it's like I said, it's just
oh man,
it's just super hard. It's super hard to get to that like those thousands of reps, where, like, here's the other thing is that before you can do a lot of stuff in an arena, you have to make the game slow down enough for you to actually have the focus to do the other stuff, right? I think the common thing for most people in arena, and even I'm still struggling with this after 1,000 games of roguelock, is that when you're focusing on one thing, you're not focusing to the mage who's also casting sheep on you sometimes. And where you need to be cloaking at the same time. And that's when you watch good players like Snuts and such who are able to do that, and they're also paying attention to that at the same time. But all that counts with reps. And if you don't get the reps in, you never reach that point where you have that extra like awareness to see what else is going on in the game. But yeah, I just feel like, man, there has to be they need to do something to make it more friendly for people to get into it or to learn, because right now it's learning is so hard for people to see progress and learn in Arena. It's actually so hard. And then I don't know what the solution is right now without them putting in something more, something to cater, maybe at least just finding partners. Like I think step one is making it easy to get partners. I don't know if the solution is what someone suggested ages ago, which is cross-realm arena groups. It's an interesting idea. I don't know if that's a solution, but maybe they can even just test it and see. But something needs to be done to make it easy to get partners at the least. Or like even just a bulletin board that you can put up and say like, these are the people looking for other partners at this sort of skill level. And then at least then people can find other people easier. Because right now it's just a mess.
Yeah, they kind of have that in retail, right? Where it's like you look for certain classes that you want to play with, or people post and things like that. That's like literally group finder for PvP.
But yeah, I guess to wrap up PvP talk, yeah, I would really like if they would do these more things to save it, because like as I'll show you guys on this,
I think they are, but they just need to roll it out faster.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. They need to roll it out more, and I would love if they address the last bits, which is like placement system. Like do something about that. Like at the least, I know that the last one's really hard to do. Like the gated community, that's kind of like a.
You're calling for like a whole rework.
That's like a whole, that
PvP
requires
system,
an entire thing to be added and reworking and like some sort of mentorship program and stuff. I understand that one's really hard to fix, but at least they can fix the placement issue things. I think that would be great. That'd be like a good start. But,
but like I do want to play devil's advocate for 1 second, where it's like it makes it hard to play with your friends. But like if I had a personal rating and I'm fucking Mur and I have like a 3K rated team, I could leave the team and be like, I don't need arena points anymore. I'm just gonna go play with my friends in threes or something, right? If I had like a 3K rating, I can't play with any of my friends in twos. If I leave that team, I still have my 3K personal rating. So it's like I can't play with any of my fucking scrub friends. So it's I don't know how to solve that issue when I think
maybe
about
like
it.
multiple teams or something like that. Like multiple teams you could join where you, but it gets tricky. It gets a little bit messy. But maybe multiple teams would be an interesting solve. You could join multiple, because why are we limited to one twos team? Why can't we join multiple twos teams?
Yeah, to be honest, that is probably a better solution. Because I mean, I tell you straight up, like I don't know how you feel about this, but the fact that you can have multiple people on like a twos team besides just two people always is a little weird. Or like in threes, you like play like you play like warlock, mage, druid, and then you sometimes swap the druid out for a priest. It's like you play with those four people on a team, and I'm like, why do you need like 6 slots on this team? Why does my 5s team have 10 slots? Like, why? What the fuck is going on? Are we gonna have like 2 teams going at the same time?
Yeah.
I understand you want to have subs and stuff like that, but being able to be on multiple teams is probably like just a way better solution. So I actually like that.
Yeah, I would love it, that, man. Like just anything to make it easier, because like as I'll show you guys on like this chart, man. Like when I was looking at the data, because one of the other topics that people ask me to talk about is the round population stuff. Like if you look at the data of like the amount of PvPing people are doing, it's really it's really sad in that way it's going. So if you guys look at this graph, this is Whitemane, which is one of the most active servers in WoW. Like you can see the population of raiding has gone up. It's gone up from like, let's say the 616 is the date down here. It's gone up a whole bunch since then. But PvP, if we go down here to the PvP leaderboards, PvP kind of peaked at 616 and then just goes down. It never went up. It kind of peaked at the start and then it just and this is how it looks for like every server that I clicked on, is that PvP just never increased. It like got a good start and then everyone was like, oh, this kind of sucks. This is hard to do. It's hard to get into.
Felina.
And it kind of like died. So Felina,
at least 1 game played per reset, huh?
Yeah. So this is it's the same. The Felina's population has been increasing, but then we go to PvP, and this is the most active like NA PvP server, and it just peaked at 616, and then it just downhill. People just aren't PvPing. It's very noticeable that there's a lot less people PvPing right now.
I do think it's very hard to find arena partners. People are constantly in trade chat saying they need like they're looking for like one person to play with. They're like, oh, like I'm looking for a resto druid for twos and things like that. I think there's a few things that cause this. One is people want specific compositions, and they're like really looking for like a resto druid, or they're looking for a discipline priest. They're looking for these things that like there's not a lot of PvEers like for PvE spots for them. Like there has to be specifically like a PvP character. But I think this is just super interesting because PvE goes up, PvP goes down.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure if this is like, it's probably because of the fact that people just can't interact with the system, like you were like we're talking about, right? Like not having resilience. Like it feels like you're really gated by or gate kept by the way that the game is right now. And I wonder if this is just going to be changed by the rep gear and honor changes. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like hoping so, but yeah, it's a bit. It gets a bit rough, especially if you queue anytime outside of peak hours. Like yesterday, I was what I say yesterday was a few hours ago because I haven't slept. I may have been grinding a lot of PvP. Like I said, I ran into Bean, his main rank 1 team, and we were like, this is a fresh team I'm grinding up with realities out. We're like 1800 MMR because there were so few people queuing at that time. It was matching up the 2400 MMR guys with the 1800 MMR guys. Which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But that's just the way PvP is right now. If you queue outside of that peak hours, it gets pretty scuffed in most brackets. Like it gets pretty scuffed. But yeah, they do need to do something about it. But like talking about the population.
I mean, they are doing something about it to my knowledge,
true.
right?
Yeah,
like all these things. We're complaining about it until it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're doing stuff like I don't know why they just don't do it now. Like why are we even waiting for season 2? It feels like they should just all this stuff just bring it in now. Like I don't see the upside in waiting, really. Like I don't know what they're really scared of. I think they should just bring it in now and keep making. I feel like Blizzard just needs to not be too scared to make some of these drastic changes because they're already bleeding people. They need to be more active and quick. But I don't know if that's just a side effect of not having enough people developing the game or like working on the game. But yeah. For the population stuff that people want to look at, this is the most interesting thing here. So like these are the most populated servers in WoW, and Benediction shot out of nowhere solely off everyone transferring there on Alliance. So like if we look down, like all the we did this on a past podcast where we went through like the servers that were dying. They've all died by now, by the way. The ones that the people were leaving, like Blamau and all those. I don't even know where Blamau is on this, but Blamau is completely deserted of one faction now. And it's down here now. There's 1,700 people playing on Blamau. It's a completely horde-dominated server. Alliance is completely gone. And all the Alliance on all the servers like this, they've all gone to Benediction. It's like everyone picked Benediction as the place to be. So now Benediction is actually the most popular WoW server because all the Alliance transferred over.
Yep. Yeah, my friend just transferred there off of Fairlina, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." I was like, I hadn't heard of Benediction.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere because it wasn't one of the most popular servers.
What the shit?
And now it's like far and away the most. But the scary thing is what happens to the Horde? Do the Horde like feel like they're outnumbered and then the Horde leave at some point? Because now it's what is it, like 60? What was the percentage?
I mean,
the 65% Alliance.
In my opinion, the ratio on the server doesn't matter as much as the number of people that you can play with, right? Like a big problem with the servers that had the bad ratio was in the phases, the early phase where, you were getting camped and shit. That was obviously bad. But now it's like, it doesn't feel like that. Like I've rolled on a server where, it's horde dominated, but I feel like now it comes down to how many people were scared away by that, don't play anymore, and how much has your faction been hit by that. So I don't really care about the ratio. I care about the raw number. And when I see like 5,700 horde, and then I look at something like Fairlina, and I'm like, there's 4,800 Alliance. I'm like, they have more than enough fucking people to play with. Like the ratio, in my opinion, doesn't matter. It's just the number of people that you can play with? Do you have people to play with? Is the thing that matters. So I think they're more than
interesting is the HOD haven't been impacted too badly, right? It's like the actual number has been going like kind of up and down. It's been stayed like steady-ish. So we don't actually know what's going to happen long term, but it's interesting that now this is the Alliance safe haven, is Benediction.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they're all going to Benediction.
What's the PvP look like? Has it gone up?
Nope, hasn't gone up.
God damn it. Damn it.
Down on every server. It's interesting that it increased so much, and yet the PvP stayed like the same or went down. Like, despite how much people came on, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's how it is. So you know what? Let's talk about how content creators are doing well. This has been like a ending topic we've had for ages that we never actually covered. We've touched on it a little bit here and there, but what in your opinion, Zirene, should WoW creators do to succeed beyond WoW? Because this is an interesting thing with the exodus of content creators in the WoW category. Because like more people are finding that they can play other games and such. It's kind of linked to the other thing, which is that people have been WoW only players for a long time. Yeah. And it's like now a lot of these WoW only players are realizing, wait, we can play other MMOs actually. Other MMOs are actually pretty good, and there's other games we can be doing. And people are realizing there's alternatives and popular alternatives at that, where they can get the same viewerships, sometimes more. I've seen some WoW category people like Pints, a good example. If anyone's watched Pints videos, he stopped doing WoW and now he's doing a lot of Final Fantasy, and his streams have grown hugely.
Yep,
from that.
Because, all my friends who do Final Fantasy now have like at least a 20 to 50% increase in like viewers. But Twitch is growing all the time anyway, so it's kind of like I don't know how much chalk it up to that. Like obviously my viewership has grown over time, so it's I feel like the more you do, it's like I feel like there's a few compounding factors here for like Final Fantasy 14 in general. Like we've talked about this before. Final Fantasy 14's player base is really large, and they've been waiting and like starved of content creators for a long time. So it's like there's been no lightning rods for them to really like flock to and enjoy the game vicariously through something. So I think that's something they were hungering for, and so that's going to create that. But outside of like WoW, I feel like the biggest thing that creators can do if they really care about growing their community is something that like you do, which is engaging with your community constantly, whether like your Patreon or your Discord. But also, it's another thing too, where like the whole aspect of streaming that people like is the like interaction that they get instantaneously. If I wanted to watch a high quality PvP Bobka like session, I just go watch YouTube, and I go watch like a Bobka like YouTube video, right? I go watch highlights or something. I'm not going to watch him live. Sorry, Bobka. But it's like unless he's going to interact, right? So I think interacting with your community is insanely important. It's probably the biggest thing you could do. And I mean, just look at the size of Just Chatting and how quickly Just Chatting grew and blew up and how big it still is, right? I think that Just Chatting is like the thing that gets people to come to your stream, interact with your stream, get other people to interact with your stream and come in because they get to know you. So I think this is something I talked about with League of Legends, is I don't think it's good enough anymore to be like the best player. I think it's good, right? It's good. Don't get me wrong. It gets you up there. But the most successful streamers are going to be people who are good at the game, but also entertainers. Yeah. I think entertainers are the people who are really going to thrive here, right? So I think that's the big one for me, is you have to be an entertainer on top of whatever you're doing, and an entertainer first before you are a player. Yeah, that'll get you the furthest. Yeah, the entertaining aspect of things is interesting because I don't know how many of you guys in chat have watched Bean before. But he's been really increasing his viewership recently, not just because he's a rank 1 player, but if you actually watch his streams, he's actually pretty entertaining. When he's doing nothing, he'll literally have like just a song playing, and he'll just suddenly start singing out of tune along with the song very loudly and awkwardly, and it's hilarious. It's good content. It's high quality content,
And it's like the people that can really combine those two really do very well. It's like I watched that on Chan as well when I'm watching Channel. I watch him a lot for the PvP stuff. But then when he starts losing his mind in a funny way because his partner isn't doing the right thing, that's hilarious content. That's really good content.
Yep.
And they combine the two.
100%. Like I have a background in fucking like actually like being in like a fucking streamer home, and I know this first and foremost is like being an entertainer is the most important thing you can do if you want to succeed as a streamer. Being good at your game is something that people care about and they have an ego about it. Like obviously, like I'm the same way. Like obviously I want to be seen as a good player, but if you're seen as an entertainer first, then more people will watch your stream. That's just if you care about growth in that manner, right?
Well, I mean, the interesting thing, I was talking to Reality today when we were doing earlier, and I was off stream, and we were just both talking about how like how our most successful streams as far as like monetarily wise has been our hot tub streams, because he did a hot tub stream as well at one point, and we were like, yeah, it's like people like to be entertained, man. And everyone in the WoW category knows that WoW is like just chatting with a game in front of you, or you're just chatting for a lot of the times. And I feel like I feel like a lot of people sometimes make the mistakes in the WoW category, because I get a lot of questions about like for people starting out, when they're starting out and such, what do they need to do? And I've seen people get okay success kind of like copy pasting what I do in like they set up like the YouTube, the Discord, they set up like the videos and such, but like the money wise they don't see the same success that in that area, because like I feel like if you want to really get into WoW and actually succeed in the income things, you got to be doing something unique as well, unless you're just going for mass views. Like the really tricky thing I've seen is that like is if you're second person to a space, you don't get anywhere near the success of the first person who captured that space. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like how like Stay Safe kind of blew up with Classic. And like you can't do that a second time. It's like you can't be the second Stay Safe, because Stay Safe already has that market. So if you're trying to like jump in there and capture like the Stay Safe market, they're already watching Stay Safe. They got the Stay Safe. They don't have a reason to go watch like second Stay Safe. And I've seen that happen to a few people who have tried to copy like what I did with like class guides and things like that, and they get moderate success, but like it's nowhere near like for people, full disclosure, I make about like 4,000 to 5,000 a month right now, which is pretty decent for someone that only averages like 100 viewers on Twitch on average. But that's between like all the different income streams that I had to build up. And it's just because like I do so many different things, right? I do Patreon, I do YouTube, I do merch, and I still have the Twitch subs on the side as well. So like I feel like, yeah, if you really want to separate yourself, you have to be different in some way. You can't just like copy paste what someone else has like success with, because otherwise, like unless it's like a really big category, like I've seen people who succeed with this in just chatting, for example, where they kind of copy and paste like almost like the misgive model, where they do like reacting, but really interesting reacting. But I feel like just chatting is big enough that you can get there with just a fraction of like what misgive has. But if you do that in WoW, like a fraction of what the top WoW streamer gets is like not livable income anymore. like because WoW streamers don't make that much, or WoW content creators don't make that much. So if you're getting a fraction of what the top content creator is making, it's probably not livable income, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that well, I joked about it at the start, but like, you know, obviously it's one of those things where like I don't make enough to actually like completely support myself in fucking Los Angeles. So in like the future, in like a few months, I either need to like take streaming either more seriously, and actually do the things I need to do to like make people want to show up, or you know, give money. I guess it just feels weird to like get money from people, you know, which is it seems really strange. Like I know somebody told me don't apologize for trying to make a living, but it's like the fact that you're like directly supported by people just always has felt weird to me, because I'm really bad with money and I just give it away to people who need it all the time. So like getting it myself is always just like strange. So I need to come to terms with that. But also like I either like need to move in the next few months or something like that to like a way cheaper place, or I need to fucking like make more money doing what I'm doing, or like get a different side gig, right? So it's something like that where like I'm obviously like coasting off of funds for a long time. That's why I'm like playing WoW. So it's a choice that I've made. Like this is like saved up money that I wanted to spend in this manner. So
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's not enough to, like in versus what comes out in terms of just financials. So
yeah. It's interesting the WoW category as well because like honestly, if someone like wants to make it in WoW, I almost tell them like do WoW, but also do something else, not WoW, so that you kind of gotta cover your bases. Because anyone who will tell you anything, who knows about anything about streaming and game and such, will tell you that man, if you tie yourself to one game or one thing, if that one thing dies, you're really screwed. You're like really screwed. You got to diversify.
Yep.
And I think like yes, and then someone is saying in chat, if you start now on WoW stream, it's kind of like late because I feel like WoW streaming right now is kind of like
the growth is not there.
Yeah, the growth isn't there. Like you're not gonna get the same like numbers and such, and even if you do grow, it's kind of you're gonna hit a point like after in RAF somewhere or after RAF where the game's gonna take a big dip. Probably, unless Blizzard does something massively, and then you're gonna have this big audience based around this one game that you're not. It's gonna be really hard to pivot if you start pivoting at that point.
I mean, this is the instability of just any career in gaming for the most part. Working at a gaming company, and when a title releases, right, if they choose not to support it anymore, you have to be very flexible and change hats or change positions or move to a different part of the company. There's a lot of horizontal movement of moving from one team to the other in gaming companies where you're like, oh, I work on design for this game. It's like, oh, after like 5 years, even though it's like League of Legends or something, you go work on Valorant, right? You go work on like the new thing. So people do that all the time. And it's just how it kind of works. It's kind of like in esports as well. What happens when Heroes of the Storm dies, right? If you're a Heroes of the Storm pro player, right? What happens when that dies? Well, shit, right? Like you're like, damn. So it's the risk that comes with the territory of wanting to be in gaming. There's always going to be that lack of stability. It's kind of the life that we've chosen to live, right?
Yeah.
If we wanted a stable job, we just go work somewhere and get promoted to manager or whatever, right? Sure, there's stable jobs, but this is like more exciting and something that I enjoy more. So
yeah, it's I mean the interesting thing is like I've touched on this in the past and Zirene's talked about it as well, where a lot of the smart streamers they don't really stream WoW that much, even if they play WoW. Like the Mizkivs plays WoW from time to time. The Jake and Bakes, even Jake and Bake, I've noticed he limits it to one stream a week if he does stream WoW.
People are moving it off their main channel now. Like SFan has SFan Radio, where he'll play and just chill. And the reason people do this and move it off their channel is because it affects their metrics. Yeah. Where if I stream, like let's say I'm SFan and I stream GTA RP and get like 30,000 viewers. I don't know his numbers. And then I stream WoW and I get like 5K. That affects my average. And then when sponsors want to know and have like a pitch deck and things like that, they always ask what are your average viewers, peak concurrent, your hours watched per month and things like that, right? They want to know those things. So that information becomes tainted in a sense by WoW or games that are less popular, and they start moving it off their channel. So it's like when you play the things. Yeah, for a long time, Soda has played WoW on his alt channel too. Yeah, it's because it's not the popular thing, but you still love that game. So you move it onto an alt channel where that's not something that you show your sponsors, etc. And it's literally purely to get it off of your metrics and play it in a more like not private sense, but like not have the same expectation around your channel while you're playing it, right? Yeah. So it's a lot of times they cam down too, like they don't fucking play with camera and shit. They're just chilling.
Yeah, well, I mean, I noticed it as well because I started being contacted by sponsorships and things like that. So I actually had to negotiate a sponsorship recently for the YouTube channel. And they took the average of like the last X amount of videos and they're like, okay, you got these amount of views per video. This is how much we want to pay you for the shout out for the next X videos and so on. And it's like, man, if you are like you, because I put up YouTube videos that I know won't always get the most amount of views. That's just the way I operate. I choose to operate my YouTube channel is that if there's something I want to talk about or something I want to cover, I'll cover it even if it doesn't get views. But I also know that it hurts the metrics.
That's why you want to make a. That's why you should make a podcast channel, right?
yeah, we're gonna move the podcast down.
No. This thing ain't working out too. No.
But man, the interesting thing is that our last podcast we talked about Asmongold. So I put Asmongold in the title because there was literally like half the podcast is Asmongold's list that we went through. It did the best out of all the podcast metrics for the last like 10 episodes of podcasts. Just because it had Asmongold in the title, pretty much.
Yeah, the algorithm's gonna pick it up.
The algorithm, man, the algorithm.
It's why clickbait, because like before somebody interacts with your video, they see two things: they see thumbnail and they see title. That's it. They see thumbnail, title. Those two things have to be something that will make people click on a video that normally wouldn't click it religiously, because you want to bring in new people, right? So the thumbnail and the title both have to be things that make people want to click on them, and that's how you get new traffic, right? That's the YouTube game. It's why I've always been like, damn, dude, the thumbnail is exactly the same every week. I'm like, I don't know what fucking episode it is, right? And then it's like, it's hard. It's hard, right? It's a very hard game to play on YouTube, because I don't want to get down in the dirt personally, like, but I feel like people who get down in the dirt always do better, you know?
Yeah, the thumbnails, and man. I guess to bring it back to the point of like, how do you succeed in WoW, and like, where do you go as far as like succeeding beyond WoW? I feel like, yeah, like what I said at the start is that you can't just copy paste what someone else is doing, because they will just go to the original source, or rather they might already be supporting that one source. They're not going to support the second source as well, because they're like, oh wow, I'm ready on this guy's thing, I'm not going to go on that guy's thing as well, and like. You're not going to peak at the same peak as, like, if I copied Stay Safe, I'm not going to be Stay Safe too, basically, is what's not going to happen. And then as well as that, you also, I feel like a lot of people have to be realistic and look at, this is the amount of money, this is your top end, this is what you could make if you're super successful. Because they have to look at the WoW metrics and be like, okay, well, the top streamers, like, Snuts is one of the world's greatest PvPers in WoW. And his streams do quite well when he streams. He's only got like 1,100 subs or something right now, which I say only because compared to like big streamers, that's not much. And then he loses half of that amount to Twitch as well, because they're taking a cut from his subs. So he's probably relying a lot on Twitch subs and prize money and his sponsorships with C9 and such as well. And that's why he's able to make it. But like, if you're a new person, you're like, oh, I want to get into WoW streaming. Okay, I'll just be a really good PvPer. And I'll be like Snuts and copy that. It's like, I don't know about that, man. Your top end is like minimum wage or less, probably, even if you're super successful.
It's also because people who are educated by you give less money on average than people who are entertained by you. This is something that like when people were watching like a League of Legends streamer, and that streamer has 1,000 viewers, they probably have something like 300 subs, right? You see a Just Chatting streamer with 1,000 viewers, they probably have 2,000 subs, right? People gift more, the interaction matters more, all that type of thing. The ratio of like engagement to subs is very effective, and it has to do with entertainment value as well. So like, people, like, that's the thing. If you ask somebody who streams Just Chatting how many subs they have, and they have the same amount of viewers as somebody who you ask how many subs they have in WoW, I bet you it's at least threefold, right?
Yeah.
So it's maybe four, because I can even speak for myself. Like, when I had like 300 viewers, I had over 1,000 subs when I was doing Just Chatting. I had like 1.1K. I have a lot of emote slots I haven't used. So, I had like 1.1K subs with 300 viewers, like on average, in Just Chatting. It's insane, right? And if I got 300 viewers now, I'd probably have like 300 subs.
Yeah,
right.
In the WoW, it's not it's definitely not the same in the WoW category. And I think like a lot of people have to be realistic about their time as well. You like. I see sometimes I feel bad for the people that I see, like, you're putting, like, I see them putting a lot of hours into, like, the WoW section or doing like WoW related things. But I know that, man, your pay per hour is probably less than minimum wage because you probably just
Oh
spent
yeah.
like
Oh
20
yeah.
hours doing this one thing in WoW, and like, dude, if you just went and worked at McDonald's, you probably made more money.
Oh yeah. The month where TBC came out and I like streamed ungodly hours, like ridiculously, like I forgot how many hours I streamed that month. It was an insane amount. I made 69 cents an hour. I mean, and my chat was like, nice. Go based on like how many hours I had streamed. So it was some ungodly fucking amount of hours. So it was, but yeah, you make very little money streaming unless you are like actually engaging with people in a way where they will spend money on you, right? That's the way.
Yeah, I think the big thing as well is that like honestly, if I have one piece of advice to content creators who stream, is that honestly, if you haven't made it to full-time income yet, stream less, because your time is better spent doing other stuff that will promote and get you income and grow your stream outside of streaming. That was actually one of the biggest things, one of my biggest faults, I guess, or one of my big mistakes was that because I made it very big. For people that don't know, I kind of blew up right away in streaming. So I never like had that thing where you try to get your like sub badge or whatever. And then I also never had that thing where you try to make it to minimum payout. Cause like my first stream was like 9 viewers, which is actually really big for like
It's really good
for someone's
really good.
first stream. And then by the end of that month, I was already like averaging 100 viewers or something. So I never had that gap where no one was watching me. And then
thanks, Mom.
Like it jumped straight to me making like I think I hit 1,000 subs by month 2 or 2.5 or something like that. So like when I got that, I thought, okay, well, I'm making so much like just from streaming this, I should stream more hours. But then that was actually a mistake because it lowered the amount of content I was actually putting out, which meant like I kind of like plateaued for a while, where like I wasn't putting out the same amount of content, so that just meant that I wasn't growing really as much anymore. And what happened was I was making more subs, but I was getting less growth, which was actually a mistake because why I should have focused more on is more growth and less on the subs. That's why these days I actually try to stream less, and I'll actually like and it actually works out better. Like the less hours I stream, the more I actually grow typically. And then when I'm streaming more, I actually grow less because I have more time to make content outside of like my stream. It's kind of like the problem is like unless you're a big streamer, I feel like your time is just better spent making YouTube content. Usually like YouTube content or guides or other things like that, and then growing. But yeah.
There's a lot of ways like off stream that you should, like that's one of the things that I stream too many hours versus what I could get by actually one doing something else, or two even like promoting my stream in a different way. Like there are things that you do off stream, like engage with the community on Discord, talk with them, do sub movie nights, things like that like is going to get people engaging with your stream more when it is on. So
well, I mean, if you look at like the most successful content creators that aren't limited to WoW, they're like the Zayus of the streaming community, where they're known not just for their WoW, but because like Zayu's whole thing is like healthy gaming, fitness, and he's got like that brand, and he streams like workout sessions and things like that. And he's got like his whole cookbook thing that so I went to his website, actually, he's got like cookbooks, fitness guides, and things like that. And he does really well because he got like that diversified viewer base, which is nice. And like his community knows him more. I think like we've said this before, that you made it as a streamer when people watch you because you're you and not because you're doing that game or something like that. When they're not just watching you because you're doing the one thing, the game that you're known for, but rather because, hey, they just want to watch like Zirene do whatever he's doing that day. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's the talk on like what creators should do. But like what people want to know, actually, I've already always been someone who's really like future thinking of like, man, where do I go for the next step? Because I always feel like if I'm not growing, then I don't know. I always feel like I have to be growing or doing something to take the next step forward.
You have to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to adapt. Yeah.
Always be adapting. So like even I'm like already like planning for post WoW, like where I'm slowly starting up another YouTube where I'm gonna be making like gaming documentary type things. like long form storytelling and things like that is what I find interesting. So I'm gonna like learn how to do that slowly. But that's what I found, man. YouTube is so much more nice and consistent than relying on like Twitch income. It's so much more nice. YouTube income is more consistent.
So many people like it doesn't require people to give you money. It comes from companies, right? From like people watching ads and stuff like that. So it's not directly out of somebody's pocket paying you, which always feels a little strange. Like I was saying, like it feels weird to take money from people or ask for money from people. That always just doesn't sit well with me. So it's like getting it from like a company, it always feels better.
Yeah.
So it feels better for the people because it's like, oh, I just watched an ad to support him and I didn't have to pay a single thing. Good. So yeah, that's, I think, a big deal for like people who are consuming content, right? Is they're more likely to consume educational content if they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I do have to do more work on the podcast though to get stuff out. It's just been, man, I feel like the next, guys, apologies in the next couple of weeks if I'm fried because I'm trying to get Gladiator and it's a long grind. For someone that's brand new, like, oh man, it's like I just running on lower sleep because I'm constantly grinding to get the reps in to improve. So I'm not hard stuck like 2K. It's a lot of games, guys. It's a lot of games. That's where all the extra hours is going. A lot of games grinding, but it's been super fun. Like despite everyone like not liking a lot of things about TBC, I feel like if you enjoy PvP right now, TBC is really fun. If you're enjoying the PvP aspect, it's just super fun.
I heavily agree. I mean, I'm waiting for next phase for PvE stuff, but we'll see what happens because a lot of people don't. I mean, a lot of people think they're gonna get burnt out, especially with like PTR and things like that already happening.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the trajectory of the game is, but I'm having fun with it, and that's what matters to me. So
yeah, exactly. It's like same for me. Like we just went on this whole spiel about doing the stuff that's good for like your future, your content creation and such. But I know, guys,
and willfully ignoring that and doing what I like doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you're ignoring that and be like, yeah, I'm gonna grind Gladiator in a thing that doesn't really matter that much, and people don't really care that much if I get the Gladiator amount.
Do as I say, not as I do. You know, like if you want to be successful, do these things. I am not what I would consider even
do the other things I'm doing. Probably don't spend all your off hours grinding Gladiator. Probably don't do that part. Make more content instead.
Yep.
But
Good
so
Lord.
This has been episode 24. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.